Tilak Sinha, General Manager, Payment Solutions, State Bank of India. Mr. Ruchin Kumar, Security Analyst, SafeNet India Private Limited. Mr. Neeraj Kumar Gupta, Chief General Manager, NABARD. Mr. Ajit Kumar Rath, General Manager, IT, Union Bank of India. Mr. Ram Rastogi, Head, IMPS, MPCI. And Mr. Rajan Raj Pant, Solution Architect, Zaka Solution. We would shortly be joined by Mr. S.S. Bhatt, General Manager, Canara Bank.
My name is Tilak Sinha. I am from State Bank of India. I am having with me Mr. Ruchin Kumar, Security Evangelist, SafeNet India Private Limited. Mr. Neeraj Kumar Gupta, CGM NABARD. Mr. S.S. Bhatt is there? Okay, no, not now. Then Mr. Ram Rastogi, Head, IMPS, NPCI. Mr. Rajan Raj Pant, Solution Architect, Zaka Solution, Kathmandu. He is also not there. Mr. Ajit Kumar Rath, General Manager, IT, Union Bank of India. So others, I think, too, will be joining shortly. But as I have been told that the time is very short, so already we are having left with hardly 40 minutes. So I will start with this. As a matter of fact, so far as the payment system is concerned, I have to go a little bit like this. If we go back to I am a banker who has seen both the system together. One, it was the only manual banking, whether full of ledgers and day books and all this thing, and then in between something was there, and some technology was there, then it was the CBS now. So there is a huge transformation. So as a matter of fact, payment and banking can be, at times you can say, synonymous also. So over a period, the changes has happened in such a way, dramatic way I will say, and this now, what is happening is almost all technology driven. And that's why the banking possibility is like this, and it was made possible because of technology. Now, the basic topic is that best practices. What is best practice in the technology? According to me, best practices in the technology has to be seamless, robust, but the best practices should be the transparency, and if it is based on the trust. And the trust means the security. It has to be a secured system. Otherwise, if the system is secured, that is the best technology and best practice according to me. And the next practice also is the best practice always. That is the way I will take it. Now, without taking much time, I will request Mr. Ruchin Kumar, Security Evangelist, SafeNet India Private Limited, to make his presentation.
Facilities, services we are providing for. It's not like it is payment system. Today, that rural India accounts for 69% of the population, and NABARD has got a mandate for developing rural India. For your information, for financial year 2013, we have provided 65,000 crore for crop loan, 38,000 crore of short-term, medium-term and long-term, and 75,000 crore to state governments for developing rural infrastructure in the states. Cooperative bank, because basically we are dealing with rural financial institutions, that is cooperative bank and regional rural bank, with 15,000 branches and 93,000 primary agriculture credit society at ground level, and 18,000 branches of regional rural bank. It's a huge network available at rural India, but never these network were utilized for providing credit or linking to payment system. Though number of branches not only alone, 61% of the total accounts in rural area are with these institutions. And they are providing 33% of the total agriculture outstanding loans in the rural area, meaning that these banks are contributing or targeting mainly small and marginal farmers, where there is a huge need for providing payment, integrating them with payment system. And effective payment system has to address need of rural India, particularly for remittances. Let me share with you that with 10 crore migrant population, and they are remitting something like around 20,000 crore of rupees every year, which is a huge amount, and most of this is going through informal channels. So it not only provides a very good opportunity for bank to earn income, but also rural people for a cost-effective method of remittance. As everybody is aware that core banking solution is the prerequisite for implementing payment system. All the regional rural bank, that is 58 after amalgamation, the number has come down to 58, that are on the CBS platform. And apart from the fund available with us has supported 28 of these RRBs to move to core banking solution. Cooperative bank situation is slightly different. We have got 370 cooperative banks, and as my colleague from Wipro has indicated in the afternoon session, 200 of these cooperative banks had joined the NABARD platform for moving towards payment system, core banking solution. Out of these, 160 have already been on full CBS. Rest of them are in different stages of moving towards CBS. 48 regional rural bank and 65 cooperative bank have already acquired IIN from NPCI. That is, they can now move to the payment system. And 30 RRBs and 1 cooperative bank have already started issuing RuPay Kisan credit card as debit card to its members. So far around 2.5 lakh card has been issued, and if we look at the total KCC account holders with this at around 5 crore, it is a very less number. But we, along with UIDI and NPCI, are working toward this to ensure that all the KCC account holder of these institutions get a debit cum ATM card. See, I would like to share the experience of Raigad Central Cooperative Bank. It's a small place near Bombay with around 65,000 KCC accounts only. And this bank became the first of the cooperative banks out of these 370 banks to start issuing RuPay Kisan credit card. And the way, see, cooperative bank has got different problems. Apart from technology and lack of expertise, their basic problem is that accounts are residing with primary agriculture credit societies while the CBS is with the bank. So for issuing cards, they require to migrate this account from primary agriculture credit societies to the CBS of banks, which is creating quite a problem because they can act as BC of CCBs, cooperative banks, but many of the PACs, they say that since they are independent institutions, they do not want to become BC because they will lose their identity, they will lose all their power in the rural area. So we are now working out various methodology how these accounts can be migrated from PACs to CCB so that the cards can be issued. Raigad DCCB has taken a lead when even some of the regional rural banks were not on CBS platform. They of their own, without getting any support from anybody, has started moving towards CBS platform. Then organizational restructuring and rationalization of manpower. A large number of unviable primary agriculture credit societies were merged with strong societies. Many of the extra staff, excess staff, they have identified and they have given VRS to them. lot many changes were made to make it a vibrant organization. Then all the accounts deposit as well as loan accounts of the PAX members were migrated to the CBS. Deposit with the PAX, particularly in states like Kerala, where it is around 60,000 crore. It provides a huge challenge for regulator because the deposit with PAX are not regulated, and it's a serious concern as far as regulator is concerned. Then they have also introduced some of the new product like bill collection, bill payment for their PAX, so that they get a commission to enhance their income. All the facilities of RTGS and NIFT has also been provided to the customers. As I told you, on 18th May 2013, they issued their first RuPay KCC card. They have onboarded to National Financial Switch through a sponsorship model, because what we are telling to all the cooperative banks, that they cannot become direct member of NFS because of cost and training costs with them. So they have to identify a bank which is already on the NFS to move. They have identified one of the bank to move to this. And all the activities like selection of card, switch, connectivity between NPCI, they have taken simultaneously, because normally it takes about 6 to 8 months to get connectivity and start issuing cards. So many of the activities were undertaken simultaneously to reduce the time. Now the next thing which they are going to work is ATMs. These cards can be used in ATM, but there is a shortage of micro ATMs, POS device, particularly in rural areas. So now they are going as a next step to purchase and procure micro ATMs, which they are going to deploy in their branches in rural areas as well as PACs. So as far as NABARD is concerned, our next practice is that this 369 cooperative banks which are yet to be onboarded to payment system, we have to provide them. Then POS machine and micro ATMs, even regional rural banks are not able to provide micro ATM to its BC outlet. We are working with them. Mobile banking, I think most of us during the pre-lunch session have discussed that mobile banking is one of the cost-effective way of reaching to the people. And Aadhaar-based transaction, with the help of micro ATM and Aadhaar number, we think that the rural people will get a chance to enable all the financial services. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gupta.
What is the roadmap you say for the RRBs to be on the NFS?
RRBs are going to through their sponsor bank.
Yes. What is the roadmap? Likely time frame by which time they are going to be on
See,
CBS?
out of 58 RRBs, I told you, 46 have already obtained IIN. In case of 10 RRB, the problem is because of amalgamation, there are different CBS. So integration of that CBS between different RRBs is going to take another 2 to 3 months. So what we are thinking that within next 6 months, all the RRBs will be on the payment platform.
So this is on the same CBS system, or is it different?
No, different RRBs were having different CBS system.
So synchronization will be a problem or not? Because
It is a problem, but they are working on it. They are going to develop some middleware and
Pula,
already
please
that
note that we
sponsor
will
bank-
have a discussion on that.
No, as a matter of fact, they are being supported by ASI, the intermediary, like that CH is one, the Wipro is providing the platform. On the platform, they are riding.
Okay.
So the platforms are hardly 4 or 5.
Okay.
I think this is not going to be within next month or so. They will be able to sort it.
Okay, thank you, because you have to leave.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, I take leave.
Yeah, Mr. Ruchin Kumar, please.
Security since last 15 years. We were closely and we are closely associated with banking sector, specifically to provide solutions in the field of data confidentiality integrity, and strong authentication. So we are quite lucky here in India that the regulatory bodies like RBI and NPCI has taken, you can say, a very positive position towards security, and there are certain guidelines from RBI which talks about security, the best practices. There are certain guidelines from IDRBT, which is the technology wing of RBI. So they are talking very clearly how the data confidentiality and integrity should be maintained in the payment systems. So recently we have seen a lot of consumerization of IT, shift in service delivery models in banking, data is moving towards cloud, a lot of virtualization is there. Then there are complex threats which are coming day to day. And the use cases, if we see the successful payment systems which are running in India, they, like RTGS was the first one which used the state-of-art security using PKI, where all the messages were digitally signed and encrypted before they were leaving the bank premises. Then there are system like automated clearinghouse, which is again using state-of-the-art security, in which again encryption and digital signing is done for all the messages. And SFMS, which is the backbone for NEFT and which is going to be backbone for NGRTGS. It is also using, you can say, a higher level of security which was there earlier. So there are certain algorithms which has been enhanced, and the encryption technology has also evolved much in last 3 to 4 years. The common requirements in all these projects were proof of endpoints. So there should be authenticity of the endpoint which was sending the message, as well as authenticity of the endpoint which were receiving these financial messages. Then encryption for data confidentiality. So even if somebody is tapping the wire in between, he cannot get anything useful. Proper authentication of the person who is operating the system. Data integrity. Even if I get hold of the financial information, I should not be able to modify it. Non-repudiation. Anybody who is responsible for the transactions should not deny later. And complete secure audit trail, so that I can do proper audits and reporting. Now we did a survey in April, and results are quite interesting. 31% admitted that their parameters has been breached. So when a lot of emphasis has been done on parametric security, but if we see, still there are breaches on the parameters and hackers are getting into the networks. 20% were not sure if they had been breached. 38% believe unauthorized users currently have access to their networks. 65% think that they will suffer a data breach within 3 years. 59 believe if their parameter is breached, their data will not be safe. And 20% wouldn't trust their own company for their personal data. So we have seen now that the sole parametric security is no longer enough. Even you can read some the reports like Gartner or Forrester. They say that 70 to 80% of the breaches are done by insiders in any organization. And we know that no security can be foolproof, so we cannot be 100% secure in any case. Breaches will happen, and we must prepare differently now. Data itself has become new parameter. Data is exposed to service providers. Data is exposed in virtualized environment. It is no more in physical custody of the data owner. So what does it mean? Is it the dawn of breach prevention era? Now, organizations will be forced to think breach acceptance and securing the breach. That means even if breach happens, insider is sharing some critical information with wrong people, it should not be in the form which can be used for or which can be misused in any way. Now, few of the organizations with which we are working have started calling us CBEO. Now what does it mean? CBEO is the Chief Business Enablement Officer. We are enabling them, and we are enabling them to say yes to newer technologies, to migrate their resources, to cut down the cost in IT. We enable business by helping financial organizations say yes for more data center consolidations, yes to move their critical applications to the cloud in virtualized environment, yes to better authentication for everyone so that no identity spoofing is done, say yes to data protection, and say no to the next breach. So the major focus areas in which banking requires security is identity and transaction protection. Those should, the confidentiality, integrity, and authentication should be applied to each and every transaction. Data encryption and control. Securing communication links so that, because they are using backbone from service providers like telcos, so even if somebody is tapping the wire, he should not get any useful information. Then there are compliance, governance, which are formed by regulatory bodies, and data protection in cloud and virtual environments. Thank you. Thank you very much for your time. I was just having 10 minutes. Just feel free to ask any questions if you have.
So now I'll take Mr. Ajit Kumar Rath to say a few words on this.
Yeah, good evening. See, payment system in India, I believe in last 10 years, it has completely transformed. So when 10 years back we had only cash and check in hand to kind of make our payments. Today, I think what we, like whatever, like you think of anything, we have everything. So I think if we kind of recall how it kind of started, in 2001, 2002 somewhere we started RTGS and NEFT platform. It started, and that point in time, unfortunately, banks did not have core banking. So for any payment system, I think there is a two leg who has to be kind of connected, and state-through processing has to be established. One is, the settlement side, the back-end side, set up by RBI. Second is the bank side. See, like I remember we used to have SFMS, some kind of terminal in the branches. So there will be custom debit on the TBA side, then a message will be formed on a SFMS terminal, that will pass. Next day, we never know when it will come back. Again, somebody has to look at the kind of SFMS system to see whether a message of credit leg is lying, then put it back onto the TBA. So I think we struggled a lot. I think I remember there are so many meetings for 2-3 years. So why this SFMS and NEFT RTGS was not picking up. Then when we rolled out core banking and it was made STP, straight-through processing, I think it was just, I think we are seeing the kind of results. Today, every bank, DD is completely gone. We are thinking, we had a DD as a major business revenue. Everything is gone. So, with, I think, inception of NEFT RTGS, we saw the first revolution of our payment system. Then came our NFS system. NFS system that completely revolutionized our card usage. When after NPCI was set up and they brought all the members together and interoperability was made. So by that time, core banking was there. Every direct debit to any bank's account. So really, I think today we have just forgotten when used to have kind of that small ATM network and where we are today. So friends, like this on ATM itself, now every bank has put in their own kind of many utilities like payments. Like it is no more a kind of only cash out machine. Whether we have a tax payment, we have mobile top-ups. Even today, we have started kind of requesting, asking customer to put in their request for Aadhaar, setting request there. So I think then the NFS we saw. Then came, I think all credit goes to our NPCI, one after other, the back-end system they have been establishing. It comes the IMPS. system. IMPS, initially it was thought of to kind of ride as a kind of backend infrastructure for mobile. So there a lot of experimentations are done. Mr. Rastogi is here. Now we also might have taken IMPS to many other channels, whether it is ATM or internet banking. So IMPS as a kind of backbone is quietly has picked up, and a lot of innovation has happened on IMPS, and the latest being is our DBT. So that being a platform, well, the payment from called P2A, like person to P2P. Now the latest is P2U. That is person to Aadhaar. Suppose from my account I know somebody's Aadhaar number, I can straight away send the payment through IMPS. So friends, like these are the I think I must say the rollout of this backend system has completely transformed our kind of payment industry. And with this, some of the front-end infrastructure which has really evolved is our mobile. Mobile. I think most of the banks, all the banks have rolled out mobile banking, where IMPS is a minimum factor there. And cash at POS also like prepaid card, open loop card. So this also as an industry it has grown a lot. The next which is coming is NFC, okay, near field communication. It is some experimentations are going on. I'm sure with that, I think the transaction will be much faster. And today the relevant point today we are talking about the financial inclusion. Micro ATM is also like another mode of kind of payment which has enabled to achieve this financial inclusion whatever we have achieved today. To start with the micro, the smart card, now online debit. So because these are the basically some of the kind of channels I thought I'll share with you. With this, while the challenge, the best practices, this is what we need to find out is, we know in India the volumes are quite high. So while setting up, while we are doing experimentation, we should also keep in mind that it should be able to kind of handle the volumes. So we probably never imagined like our ATM would clock so much of kind of volume. But today, I think in Union Bank of India, we do almost 10 to 11 lakhs of transactions per day. So similarly for FI, whatever experiment we have done, we have to ensure that the transactions are scalable. The infrastructure, whatever we have put in, those are also scalable. So those are the kind of practices. And the next best is we have to see that end-to-end, we have now opened so many channels. We have to say that all the channels are integrated so that we get a completely single view of all the kind of transactions and also for the liquidity management. So this, from my side, I thought this is the next best.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Roth. Now, Mr. Rastogi, you have to. The time is short. So
yeah. I'll take only 5 minutes. We
Okay.
have been talking to you. Vipin has talked to you. NPCI, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. We believe in the trust, a trust of 160 member banks and telcos. We believe in innovation, and we believe in a cost-effective, real-time, interoperable solution. Yes, we do innovate. People have talked about the innovation, and we are taking the payments to the next trajectory in this country. And the ultimate, our target is to make a financial inclusion very cost-effective and real-time. With this, okay. So what we have created an USSD platform. We have recognized the importance and problem faced by banks in onboarding of the customers with the help of application. We realized the problems in the SMS, so what we thought will create an USSD platform. And we have simplified the entire process for customers of all the banks and telcos. They have to remember only one shortcode, which is *99#. They have to dial *99# and we'll take them forward with the interactive radio channel. And in their own language, we'll try to complete the transactions. So member banks need not to invest on the infrastructure building. They have to really tied up with us. We have already tied up with them. So the cost of transaction can be minimized, and if everything goes well, which people are working, the transaction cost will not be more than 2 rupees. So if somebody wants to transfer 100 rupee, they have not to pay more. And that's a dream which we are seeing, and we want to make it one of the best model across the world. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now, Mr. Rajan Raj Pant is a solution architect from Jacas Solution, Kathmandu. Will make a short presentation.
Thank you very much. I'll be talking about very shortly some cases and what happened into the Nepal, Kathmandu, some frauds, banking frauds, and what is the precautions should be taken in the such frauds. It shouldn't happen again. And this is what we have done into the Nepal, what are the precautions we have taken, and how we have doing in the banking in the Nepal. I will show you that. The fraud is any behavior which one person intends to gain this honest advantage over others and using the IT and doing the same act is called the IT fraud in banking and financial sector. So this quote I had taken from the one speech of Dr. K.C. Chakravarty, I think, Deputy Governor of RBI. He has given one speech in 26 July 2013. You can download from that. There are a lot of analysis there. In the Indian banking scenario, what are the frauds, how does it happen, everything is there. It's very nice. So so this is not a globally I'm talking about. This is what had happened into the Nepal, considering the Nepal market only. I'm talking about this. So in that so we found the 4 types of the frauds. One is electronic fraud, identity theft, credit card and debit card fraud, and ATM fraud. Electronic fraud means like a phishing. There was a very big scam on the phishing from the 2 banks. Sorry, for the 2 banks. One is investment bank and one is the Himalayan bank. So a lot of people had surrendered their username, password, PIN through that email. So it was exactly what's showing from the email come from that Himalayan bank or the investment bank like this. So and they were trying to take some identity, trying to take the identity from the different people. Now, credit card and debit card, the cases I will show you here. In December 2011, Mr. Sabin Rimal, one person, former employee at the card division of Nabil Bank, and his brother Ritesh Rimal were arrested for the withdrawing hefty amount from one other deposit accounts. He managed to withdraw more than ₹1 by stealing PIN numbers of ATM. That is the one case what had happened into the Kathmandu. Another case was Himalayan Bank Limited has reported that ₹4 million was stolen from the accounts from depositors through the fraudulent use of the bank's debit card. According to media reports, the $4 million was withdrawn last week from Delhi only, Delhi, India only. So another fraud is police is investigating the 3 accused who had withdrawn ₹1,22,000 from the 16 different account number of investment bank. According to the police, they had also withdrawn money from Nabil Bank, Siddhartha Bank, and Sunrise Bank. So these are the cases what has recently happened is the biggest scams. There are 32 commercial banks in Nepal, 88 development banks, 69 finance companies, 24 microfinance development banks, saving and cooperatives are 16, and NGOs who has the finance institutions are 30. Total 265 finance institutions there. Now reasons for the banking fraud wise, so weak regulatory. So regulatory, there is no technical high-tech persons in the checking the like auditing in the technology what they have adopted over the years, or the other regulatory things also. People abusing the positions. That is the what you saw. We had already seen in this presentation that there is some involvement of the people who are in the bank officers there. So changing the lifestyles, availability of the easy money. So if you do the fraud, you will get the easy money. Comparatively, it's just cheap than doing the physically. Physically, there is some problems with net from the net or from stealing the pins and doing from the home, you can do like this. So involvement of the hackers, authorized persons in this. And there are some threats which we have found is that botnet. We found the botnet threats as malware attack. One PC has been compromised with the hackers' PCs, and that is again they will attack into the sometimes and unpredictable times wherever the attacks. That is the phishing. There is your fraud emails, SMS also is missing, and voicemail also missing. So in this, the authentication technology should be adapted, and we are taking this is a European Master Visa card, some things, now biometrics. The banks are introducing the biometrics also. There's a lot of IT security audit is going. I think the SafeNet is supplying that mobile authentications. They are also doing some of the banks are taking SafeNet, some mobile authentications is good. Training of the people is required. They have to aware, and the knowledge you have to give knowledge to the customer also. What you have to do, where do you have to keep the pin? The safest place of the keeping the pin is on your mind, not in any drawers or something else. So interbank cooperations, you have to interbank cooperations. So you have to check whether the what are the frauds that happened in the last 6 months. We have to summarize like this if any attacks comes or not. So in my opinion, there is not high tech would be control the frauds. So there is a human check also. This is between the human check versus the high tech. If the people had already committed, decided to do the fraud, then it cannot be stopped by your high tech. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think it is mostly on time. I will say rather before time. So what has happened is so far what we are discussing, in essence, it is like that. If we sum up, the technology is like this. First thing, this is where awareness is the prop of the thing, then followed by the convenience, and the third is the security. If all three comes together, then the technology is obviously people will take it like that, and it is happening that way. The most important part in this entire ecosystem built up is the interoperability that is also happening. But it will take some more time for that because even today the few banks are not yet on the CBS platform. I'm talking about obviously cooperative banks and a few RRBs also. With this, I think the technology platform will be interoperable and it will be taken forward. So far the best practice is concerned, I will again come back to that. Unless and until the system is having the transparency and the people have the trust in it, it is never a best practice. That has to happen, and we are all working in the same direction, be it the technology platform, technology agency, be it the bank, be it the other security agencies. Everybody is doing in tandem to make it happen, and it will happen. Now I think before we can finish, we can have 1 or 2 questions, whatever if it is possible, with the time permits. Thank you. Okay. If there is no question, we can take a call, we can close it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I would request you to give away the mementos to the panelists on stage. सर आपको देना To Mr. Ajit Kumar Raj, General Manager IT, Union Bank of India. To Mr. Rajan Rajpant, Solution Architect, Zakas Solutions, Kathmandu. And to Mr. Ram Rastogi, Head IMPS, MPCI. I would request Mr. Ajit Kumar to give the to give the memento to Mr. Pulak Sinha, General Manager, Payment Solutions, State Bank of India. Thank you, sir, for moderating the session.